He's one of your
Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks for Tuesday, December 5th, 2017 is now 6 o'clock. Will the City Clerk please call roll?
Mayor Steve Gander.
Here.
Council President Mark Olstead.
Here.
Council Vice President Chad Grassel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Mike Pakshavinsky.
Here.
Tim Riopel.
Here.
Henry Tweeten.
Here.
Mark Demers.
Present.
Does turn quorum please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item we have is recognition of the retirement of Linda Adams Vanderhoof. Linda, you're going to have to come up here.
Front and center, please.
Welcome.
Thank you. Stand by the microphone. Stand by the microphone. Me? Both of you.
Says we can stand over here, though. Now, I have done a little bit of homework about you and found out what you've been up to these last 17 years. 17 years. That's pretty cool. So it turns out that in those 17 years of service, you led the center through a time of great growth. Growth in membership, growth in programs that are offered. They tell me that you're a very good listener, and so you actually customize these programs to the preferences of the people. Now that's a fine idea, so thank you for that. Also, we find out that some of the areas that you've added have to do with health and wellness. You've added also in some education, the cultural themed meals, and even some dances that take place into the, do they go into the wee hours, or when are you done with these things?
The wee hours of 8:30.
8:30. With a live band.
Yes.
Well, considering it's 8 o'clock's my bedtime, that's pretty late.
It's late enough.
And again, in the area of always listening and taking an interest in each one of these dear souls, these older residents of our community, thank you for that. It sounds like you've actually been able to, in addition to that, sort of problem solve and help at certain times. What a cool thing. And I know there'll be some overlap between your time and the one that'll take your place, and maybe some of that's already happening. It's also, you know, what's being exchanged there is the approach. So it isn't just the nuts and bolts of what happens there, but it's the heart and the passion that you have. So take the time to make sure to share that. We want to see that continue on. Absolutely. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Linda, you need to say something.
Linda Adams Vanderhoof, in appreciation for your 17 years of hard work and dedicated service as coordinator of the East Grand Forks Senior Center 2017. And thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I just want to say I did spend some time on the board with Linda. You can sit down if you want. You don't stand up here. And I appreciate everything she's done over there and still does. I think tomorrow, is it 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock tomorrow at the Senior Center? Everybody listening is going to show up tomorrow now, so Linda. So if you... 4:30, there's harp at 4:30, right? Music? And you're doing that, Linda? Harping?
Thanks again.
Thank you. I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say. If not, I'll move on. Okay. Open forum, an opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. If you'd like to address the City Council, please come to the podium to do so now. Does anybody in the audience at this time want to address the council that's not, items not on the agenda? I see none. Approval of November 21st regular meeting minutes and 28th work session. Both.
Second.
Moved by Grassel, second by Demers. Any questions or comments? Not, roll call, please.
Riopel.
Yes.
Tweeten.
Yes.
Olstead.
Yes.
Grassel.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Pakshavinsky.
Yes. Motion is carried. Scheduled bed lightings, none. Scheduled public hearings. Public hearing for the consideration of 10% increase to the tax levy. Motion to open the public hearing, please. Move. Moved by Mr. Vetter, second by Mr. Demers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. The public hearing is now open. Mr. Murphy and Ms. Anderson.
I guess I can start this and if Ms. Anderson would like to add anything to it. As you're aware, this is something that we have looked at over the last several months, putting together the budget for 2018, and based on what we have for our projected needs for the upcoming year, we are recommending an increase to the levy of 10%. So if there's any questions, we will take that. Otherwise, Carla, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Only that we'll do the expense or the budget. We'll have it, we do on Tuesday and we'll vote on the next one. So this is just the levy part, because there was a couple more numbers that were coming in.
Anybody have any questions at this time? Questions? Okay. Roll call? I'm just kidding. No questions from anyone. We'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
I guess.
Oh, she does have one? I'm sorry.
My name is Sarah Parker, and I live at 1723 21st Street Northwest. And I'm here today to appeal our property taxes. Clearly, the proposed market value is too high. We're currently trying to sell our home, and it's listed below this assessed value. We have it at $444,000. Your estimate is $453,900. So if it were worth that, then we would be selling it for that. That's almost $10,000 difference. There's no reason why we should be taxed at that price. Also, I wanted to mention that with the talk of this cell tower possibly going behind our house, that too is just going to increase or decrease the value of our property. So.
Maybe Mr.
As far as the decrease in the value, I've got a tower directly out my front window of my house. Mine has gone up 3 years in a row. So I really don't hold that as being a reason for it.
We've talked to several people, realtors and everybody else, and that's.
But I'm real time. I'm real time. I'm there.
Okay.
David, would you be willing to talk about the process for appealing valuations of an individual home? That's
That'd be
a
nice.
slightly different day, a different time, a different place. And it's important. I mean, we'll serve you. Would you take just a moment
Yeah, I
to
can-
share? That would be, it comes in from a different angle.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, the hearing for tonight is for the proposed property tax, what the actual levy amount is, what's going to be collected from the properties throughout the city. The estimated market value, that's usually done in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to stick around or give me your info, I can go through with what that process for appealing that.
Sure.
in
It
the time.
said December 5th on here. So.
Yeah, that's for the truth in taxation as far as the levy amount.
Okay.
The amount that's the value that your home is assessed for, that's set at a different process. And actually, I'd be more than happy to go through that with you
that'd be great.
in how to appeal that. I worked for 4 years in an assessor's office, so I'm very familiar with the process in that. So if you can just stick around afterwards and give me your info, I can certainly go
Okay.
through that with you.
That's an appeal that goes to the county, not the city, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and I can help you there. As I said, I've been through many of them with the assessor's office.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Demers, did you have something, sir?
So I was just going to follow up on something.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Anybody else have anything? If not, entertain a motion to close the hearing, public hearing.
Real close.
Moved by Demers. Second by Riefel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. The public hearing is now closed. Consent agenda, items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and action if they choose. If anybody want items 4 through 7 pulled at all?
Please pull 7.
Number 7 is being pulled by Mr. Vetter. Anybody else? If not, entertain a motion with 4, 5, and 6. Moved by Mr. Vetter. Second by Riepel. Any questions or discussion on 4, 5, or 6? Not roll call, please.
Riepel?
Yes.
Tweeten?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Grassel?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Vetter?
Yes.
Pakshavinsky?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 7, consider approving the non-exclusive agreement between the City of East Grand Forks and Northland Community and Technical College for the use of the northeast corner of the city parking lot west of 4th Avenue Northwest for the truck driving program from January 9th, 2018 until January 8th, 2019. Is there a motion? Motion?
I'll move.
Moved by Grassel. Second by Riepel. Any discussion? Mr. Vetter?
I've never been in favor of this one, so I can't start this year.
Anything else? Anybody else have any questions or comments? Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess I've kind of been in that same boat, I guess. Not because I don't think that we have an asset that could be used, but I think that we should be compensated for the wear and tear that's going to be placed on that, and I don't think that this agreement puts or sets that up where we're doing this at just cost. So I'm going to vote no.
Anybody else have any questions or comments on this? I see none. Roll call, please.
Riepel,
No.
Tweeten. No. Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
No.
Vetter,
No.
Pakshavinsky.
No.
Motion fails. Acknowledge receipt of reports on officers, boards, and commissions. There is none. Communication, acknowledge the retirement of Al, forgive me if I pronounce, Pilon, sorry, effective November 24th, 2017, after 39 years of service to the City of East Grand Forks. Number 9, acknowledge the retirement of Dale Gulbranson, effective November 30th, 2017, after 30 years of service to the City of East Grand Forks. Old business, there is none. New business, consider adopting resolution number 17-12-94, approving the 2017 tax levy collectible in 2018. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second by Vetter, second by Demers. Discussion or questions? Discussion or questions on this? See none. Roll call, please.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 11 is being removed from the agenda. Number 12, consider authorizing the city administrator clerk treasurer. What did you say? Oh, okay, sorry. Number 12, consider authorizing the city administrator clerk treasurer to issue payment of recommended bills and payroll. Moved by Tweeden.
Second.
Second by Demers. Any questions or discussion? See none, roll call, please.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Pakshavinsky.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Mayor Gander.
This morning for about an hour and a half over in the Grand Forks City Hall, I met with a committee that is looking at it, that has been looking at for several years, how we do the lighting, the decorative lighting on the Sorley Bridge. And we're finalizing the agreement that will guide us into the future as to how we do those special lighting events. And I wanted to make sure we'll hammer out a few more details into how you would arrange for a special event. But if there's a community-wide special event, I thought of like the Holly Dazzle the other night, where you could have had a special lighting theme. There is a process to go through to apply for a short-term special lighting opportunity on the Sorley Bridge. It starts with one of the two mayor's offices, and then it gets final approval through this committee. And so if anyone does know of a community-wide event, whether it's Catfish Days or the Holly Dazzle or one of the other community-wide events, or maybe one of our schools wins a national, or excuse me, a statewide championship, something like that, we might have to acknowledge with some bridge lighting. So keep that in mind going forward if there's a community event that you might want to incorporate into the bridge lighting. Now to the two items of communication that we got, these two long-term employees who will be retiring from our service, Al Pilon and Dale Gulbranson. I've heard a lot of good things about these two. I've heard that they stayed effective to the end. Good hard work, honest day's work for an honest wage. And here's the thing. We have older employees now leaving us, and that's a big deal because they carry the history of our organization. And these older employees that carry that history, it's very important, isn't it, Henry? And to those employees, those older employees still with us, I've talked to one in particular, and maybe others feel this way, that some way the city is counting the days until older employees leave. We're not, because of just what I said. They have a unique sort of effectiveness. They've figured out shortcuts to do most of the work that we do, good shortcuts that still give a quality outcome, not the kind of shortcut that just saves work and really cheapens the process. These folks have found efficient ways of doing everything that we do, and I appreciate it so much. So y'all that are with us, older people, stay with us as long as you like. We know that you're effective. But I do have a challenge for you, older folks. Keep in mind that sometimes the younger folks have some good ideas too. Thank you.
I don't have anything this year.
Mr. Baczynski. Mr. Riefel.
Nothing.
I'd like to make a comment. Anytime I get compliments from the people in the city, I'm happy to announce it to the other people on the city council and department heads. Jason Stellerdall did an outstanding job getting the snow off the streets, and I've been told that he's going to do some more Friday morning, trim it up a little bit for the weekend. That's very, very important, because the thing that happens when people feel good about a city and the services, it's important because it promotes good attitude. The thing that happens when that particular branch of our government performs, it assists Gary Larson, who has the job of running the rescue vehicles in the city. His numbers are increasing. We're running 2 of them right along, and we've seen instances in the past week that he saved lives. And when Jason's men clean up the city, it saves a lot of lives. And when I get done, I'd like to have Gary Larson indicate that he's had quite the experience in the last few weeks in regard to his particular position. Anytime we can save lives and save properties, we're going the right direction. And Gary, I hope you give us a little brief outline of what you're doing. That's why it's important for the mayor and city council and all of us involved is to provide all our departments with the best equipment we can. Any minute we can have in an emergency. Thank you.
Mr. Demers. Gary, you want to say anything, or do you want to wait till the end?
I just say we've been busy. We had a structure fire the other night, cleaning up some things with the pager system that failed. We had a poor turnout, so we're working with Polk County and Stone's Radio. We did have an event with the police where we had a nice save the other day, so we're working well together and in between departments. We actually hit a day the other day where we ran from noon to midnight. I think we had 12 calls, so some days are pretty busy, I guess so.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Demers.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Me?
Mr. Grass.
Oh, you were worried about him. Just again, acknowledge the retirement of Al and Dale both. I firmly believe Al waited around the corner of my house for 39 years and then plowed into the driveway after I'd finished snow blowing and then laughed as he drove away. Al was a nice guy, and I used to stand out on the street with a shovel waiting for him, but I don't have to do that anymore. So they both have been great workers for the city of East Grand Forks, and they're both blue missed.
I'd like to thank Mr. Stordahl for his excellent snow removal. Woke up this morning, it was totally clear on my street, and got to go out and remove some snow from the driveway, which wasn't too bad, so it was great. I'd also like to recognize Linda for her retirement. Hopefully we can come out tomorrow and give her thanks and enjoy a little discussion with her, so appreciate it. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. I only have one item, and that is that, just a reminder to bring it to your attention that in December, we will only be having one work session. Our second work session is scheduled for the day after Christmas, and historically that is a time that is difficult to get people together. Typically it's a slow time of year as well, so I'll be recommending that we just skip that particular work session. So that is all I have.
Mr. Gulston.
Nothing unless there's any questions for me.
Mr. Emery.
I have nothing.
Anything from the department heads? See none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Riepel, second by Demers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.